So most of you know who Chris Nolan is. Director of arguably the best Batman movies out there. I definitely say so. Director of my absolute favorite DC movie of all time, Batman Begins. So he recently wanted to specifically talk about how Hollywood has changed in regards to superhero movies, really ever since The Dark Knight and Iron Man hit at the same time. So when it came to Hollywood and superhero movies, it was like a giant nobody wants to touch this, right? It wasn't until X-Men by Bryan Singer and Spider-Man by Sam Raimi that the industry really saw potential. And even then, they were still apprehensive to kind of touch the brands because it's like, you got Fantastic Four coming out and you had like a Catwoman and a Daredevil, so it was still a 50-50. 2008 was like this giant shift in the industry where suddenly Spider-Man comes out, Spider-Man 3's out, and it's like, nobody wants more of that because it's not what we want. It's kind of going backwards. And then you have The Dark Knight, which is like, okay, so we can be real serious. And then you have Iron Man, like the ultimate B-list that nobody was expecting, hinging the entire future of Marvel on his shoulders, and that succeeds, right? And then just a few months later, you have Incredible Hulk, and they do that scene at the end, and people are like, oh damn, I see the game plan, right? So everything started to form in 2008 during like this perfect rise of CG. So it was like, as CG rose to be so mainstream after Star Wars, everything started to change. And Chris Nolan just said, today the industry has changed so much because you're not afforded the luxury of taking your time with these movies. And he cites The Dark Knight as a prime example. After Batman Begins, he was given indefinite time. No set date, no push you out there. No, like, let's just, get the sequel out within 2.5 years because that's the optimal time, right? And he mentions how now studios go out there and they just throw out a date. It's like the movie has to make it out by then. And he's right in that regard because, like, famously Sony, I would say, and even DC are the worst at this. They come out, they announce like 6 sequels, but they have nothing set in stone. Where Marvel Studios has come out, they set 10 movies out, and they're like, whatever, something falls behind, we'll just push it. It's happened. It just happened with Guardians. They don't care. They can afford to do that. Doctor Strange, he's taking his time. It's going to be like 5 years between Doctor Strange movies. Ant-Man, Thor, The Dark World to Ragnarok. They're like kind of afforded some of that luxury, but they still understand it's part of the Hollywood machine. And it's really an interesting look at Hollywood now because the industry changes so quickly that unless you're relevant all year round, nobody seems to care about you. And you see a lot of movies coming out, like Mortal Engines, for example. It doesn't matter when that movie would have come out, it would have bombed regardless. It's a new IP surrounded by superheroes and established franchises. So, like, what are you to do, right? And that's really kind of Hollywood in a nutshell now, because if you reboot something, people are going to hate you, but they'll go see it, but it might bomb. If you're doing something new, I guess flip a coin and it might work, it might not. So, luxury in Hollywood. I don't know. Pick a franchise and hopefully it sticks. Like, 5 years ago, who would have told you Aquaman's going to be a success and Batman isn't? But hey, 5 years ago, right?